Bobski. We'll turn it over.
All right. Thank you, Daryl. Hello, everybody. And who all's not from Longmont here? I know Richard. Yeah. Everybody else kind of from Longmont? Just
Does
curious.
it does it count if we're not in Longmont?
Nope, that doesn't count, Jan.
Shucks, I'm in Alabama.
Oh, you know what? We'll take that. I think that's great. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to see if we can figure out how to share everything we want to share here. So hang tight. And everybody see that?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. So what's new on your iPhone? So
Things where you need it.
we're going to talk today about the iOS release 18, which came out late last year, and they added a bunch of new features, and we're going to cover those. We'll also cover some what I call oldies but goodies. Whenever I talk about iPhone and iPad, I always like to include a couple of shortcuts that are useful all the time. That has nothing to do with being new with 18, but it's a new shortcut. So, for
Mm.
those of you that don't know me, I think I know pretty much everyone, but I'm a member of the Senior Center Tech Connect volunteer group. And in my real life, I was a high tech marketing guy for high performance technical computing, which things like weather forecasting and modeling car crashes and discovering how plastics work and DNA and all that stuff. I was involved with all that, so it was fun. I do a lot of writing. I also used to do a lot of programming, but these newfangled programming languages today are just beyond me. And it's a long story that we can talk about some other day, but I grew up with computers. Uh, Amazingly enough, going to high school in the mid 60s, I ended up working with a computer and in Wyoming, of all places, and never looked back. So I've been around computers for quite some time. So I always like to say, hey, who wants to watch this presentation? Certainly, if you have an iPhone and you've recently updated to the latest version of iOS or iPad OS, and if you can see here to determine your current release, if you want to see what release you're currently on, go to the gear icon, go to General, About, and it will show you the iOS version. Or you're considering updating to iOS 18. It's been about 6 months since it's been out, so everybody's phone that's capable probably has updated by now, but you might check. And we're going to talk more about that in a second. Or you just want to see some cool things your phone will do, and we're going to talk about some of those things too. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if you can see this. I asked ChatGPT, which is an AI chatbot, to create an image of a surprised senior, aghast, looking at his iPhone. Show the iPhone home screen with random icons. So it created this, and this image is just amazingly realistic. This is AI generated. But what's interesting is since I ask it to show the icons on the home screen, he's looking at the back of his phone. I thought that was kind of cool. It did what I asked, even though it ended up looking kind of wonky. So the wonders of AI, and if you haven't heard our AI presentations, be sure to look for those in coming months here. AI is just crazy. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to do a little introduction and background. What's an iOS and, by the way, an iPad OS? They're almost identical. So when we're talking about iOS in this presentation, we're generally, it also applies to an iPad. We're going to go through some what I call useful shortcuts, and that's a review because it's not new with iOS 18, but these are good things to know. And then we're going to cover the new features. And I always like to break this up into two sections. The not particularly useful but mildly entertaining section. That section, you don't really even have to listen to it if you don't. There's not going to be a test at the end on that section. But we may have a test on this one, the informative and hopefully useful section. So that's the one where you want to pay attention to. So first of all, let's look at what's an iOS and iPad OS. You can see here, this is the logo that Apple uses for iOS. By the way, can you see my cursor here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good, because we're going to use that here. It's what runs your iPhone and your iPad. It looks like this. So this is what we call the hardware. The hardware is the chips and wires and plastic and glass that makes up your iPhone. What really makes it work is this software called iOS or iPad OS. And new, and we're going to talk a little bit about this today, is Apple Intelligence, which is layered on top of it. And then on top of that, of course, are all your apps. And, you know, we all have tons of apps on our phone that do different things. Those are all layered on top of the hardware, the software, and Apple Intelligence. So the thing is that Apple updates the software on your phone and your iPad about once a year around September. And it always contains new features to add functionality, fix bugs, and increase security. So they are constantly improving the software, and that's what this release is all about. You have to notice that older iPhones may not be upgradable, and there's a table in the handout to show if your phone is upgradable. And it's quite a ways back, but after a while, they quit supporting new software on older phones. This is what the iOS releases look like. So back in September 2024 is when iOS 18 was first released. You can see some of the features that it came out with. Since then, they have what they call dot releases. So you can see here 18.1, 2, 3, 4. 18.5 will be released next week, as a matter of fact. It's got a couple of new features. This group by sender, we're going to talk a little bit about. Each iteration, they generally improve the stability and security of the release, and then they will incrementally add new features to each of these dot releases. So let's see if you've upgraded. And if you got your phone or iPad in front of you, you can check this. Go to System Settings, General, About, and iOS version. If you're still on iOS 17, you can probably upgrade to 18. The thing is the upgrade's kind of a little hidden, so we're going to talk about that here. You can go to General, About, and the model name, and then check your model against the list that's in the handout, and you can see if your phone will upgrade. And then select System Settings, General Software Update. And the thing is sometimes if you're on 17, it will show you an update to 17. You have to scroll down to see the upgrade. They call that an upgrade to iOS 18. So you might see two updates there. One is to update 17 or upgrade to 18. And you want to upgrade to 18. And it might take a while. And by a while, I mean 15 minutes-ish, depending on your internet connection, because it has to download the new software. So will my phone run iOS 18? This is the list of phones that will run 18. And we're going to talk more about Apple Intelligence, but these phones will run Apple Intelligence. All right, so let's look. This is a review. Let's look at some useful shortcuts, and we can kind of just walk through these. In fact, let me bring them all up, and then we'll look at them. The first one is to search your phone, and this is invaluable. And if you don't know this shortcut and you don't pay attention to anything else in this presentation, pay attention to this because it's absolutely invaluable for navigating your phone. The second one is a little less useful, but kind of cool nonetheless. That's the app library, and we're gonna talk about this. The control center has been completely revamped for iOS 18, and we're going to show you some of those features. But the control center is also very handy, and we're going to talk about that as well. And browse open apps. So let me share my phone. I'm going to blank this out and share my phone. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is my iPhone. I'm running an application that's on the Mac called iPhone Mirroring. So this is my phone. It's the real live phone. Okay. So the first thing that we want to talk about is this search shortcut. Now, what you do is somewhere right about the middle, somewhere right in here, just touch that and flick down, and it does that. It brings up Siri suggestions for search, and it brings up this search bar down here. And you can type anything into the search bar, like let's say Wells, right? And it will find the Wells Fargo app. But notice it also finds some websites that I go to, a health app, mental well-being, because I typed well. Pandora, this is maybe a song that I've listened to, and some settings. And then it will also show me photos that have to do with wells. Like this photo here has get well soon written on it. So this searches your entire phone for the phrase that you enter. Let's say, what's another good one? I don't know. Heart. So you can see iHeartRadio is an app, and then my heart health or my sleep. Sleep. You can see it. There's a sleep focus setting. Interestingly, if you look at the suggestions, I work at my church on Sundays, and on Sundays, if I do this search, it will show me this services app, which tells me what I'm going to be doing at church that Sunday. So this search suggestion knows what day it is. It knows what time it is and what you generally do. Like in the morning, I will generally look at sleep. My watch kept track of how well I sleep. And so it puts this up here. It says, well, you normally use this app at this time. So and it also looks at where you are. So it looks at a different place. So that's the search function. The other one is the app library. So if you swipe right, I'm trying to do this with my mouse, and you just keep swiping right, at the end, you will get to your app library. And what it does is the iPhone tries to put things together that it thinks are useful, like utilities, my Xfinity, my watch app, my system settings. Social has Instagram, X or Twitter, Facebook, messages. So you can see I didn't group these. It grouped them for me. And it's kind of a quick way to find apps. Now, if you scroll up, it presents an alphabetical list of your apps. So that's even a quicker way to find an app if you know the name of it, because you can scroll and find it. So that's the app library. Let's go back to the home screen. The control panel, unfortunately, I don't think I can show you the control panel. You flick from the upper right. So from right up here, just flick down, and I don't think I can show you the control panel, unfortunately, because of the way this works. Well, let's try that. No, that's a setting.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi,
Christine.
Thing, which I don't really understand.
You want me to think about what?
Pardon me?
Is that Norman?
Hey,
Say hi to Norman.
Don't know. I don't really understand what this is about, but I'm
Christine, would you mute, please?
All right. If you have your phone in hand, try that pulling down from the right. And because the control panel, we're going to talk more about it, but it's got all kinds of settings. And you can choose which settings are available on the lock screen and which are not. So we're going to talk more about that. I'm sorry I can't show it to you with my current setup here. All right, so let's get into the meat of this. What's new in iOS 18? By the way, has everyone pretty much upgraded to iOS 18? Does anyone not know if they're at iOS 18? Just a quick poll. All right, well, let's keep going here. First of all, let's look at what I call the top four, and these are the top four of the new features. The first one is Apple Intelligence. So everybody's heard of AI, and I thought it was quite clever of Apple to name their AI, but it's called Apple Intelligence as opposed to artificial intelligence. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but for a lot of reasons, we're not going to talk a lot about it. But it's an introduction to Apple Intelligence. Photos got completely revamped, and if you've upgraded to iOS 18, you're probably have seen the Photos app and been befuddled by it. And we're going to talk more about that as well, because they changed the way the interface worked completely. I mean, speaking of new features to confuse you, this was one of those. The Passwords app is a great new app that comes with iOS 18. And by the way, Mac OS 15, for those of you that have Macs, it's a built-in password manager. And we're going to go into that a little bit more. I haven't written down a password, nor have I had to think of a new password for over a year now. I let the password manager do it all for me. And you don't know what a relief it is when you sign into a new account, a new site, and it says make up a password, and you have to sit there and go, oh no, do I have to make up another password? Let it do you for you. Let it do it for you. Not only is it a unique password, but it's also a complex password. So we're going to talk more about that. And then there's a bunch of customization features, specifically the home screen you can customize more fully than you used to be able to, as well as the control panel.
Are we supposed to have that little icon right there on our phone if we have 18? I don't see it on my phone.
Um,
That little,
that's a really good question. Let's look at settings. Go to settings and look for Apple Intelligence and Siri.
is it under general or just,
It's under the main settings page.
okay, and it's called what?
If you scroll down, it's called Apple Intelligence and Siri. Do you see that?
I see Siri, but it doesn't have Apple Intelligence with it.
Which iPhone do you have?
A 14?
Ah, yes. A 14 doesn't support Apple Intelligence.
Oh,
It has to be a 15 Pro or any model 16.
okay.
Yep. So excellent question. And I think I talk about that here in just a second. So let's look a little bit at Apple Intelligence. Apple Intelligence uses AI, and one of AI's strong suits, if you probably know, is language. In other words, listening and talking to you and accepting text. And to that end, Apple Intelligence will create text for you that's just amazing. It will write stuff for you. It will rewrite stuff for you. In, say, an email that you're sending, you can say, hey, make this a little less confrontational, right? And it will rewrite it for you. There's some integration into photos. We're going to talk about that a little bit. There's a new thing called an image playground, which will create images for you. Very similar to that image you saw earlier that I had ChatGPT create for me, although it's not as sophisticated as ChatGPT yet. There's a thing called Genmoji. If you're familiar with emojis, you can actually create your own emojis using AI. And then this isn't completely done yet. So if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or an iPhone 16 and you have Apple Intelligence, Siri's natural conversational experience isn't soup yet. So this was created when Apple thought they were going to have it, but they have delayed it. And that's one of the reasons we're not going to talk about Apple Intelligence too much, is because they've delayed the release of it until later on this year or mid 2026, if you can believe that. So I don't want to delve in this too much. And if you really want to play with it, come see me at one of our drop-ins, and we can go over it. It's also not yet integrated with ChatGPT. All right, let's look at photos, because everybody uses their phone for photos, right? They've created this new unified design, they call it, and it's customizable. We're going to show that here in a second. You have somewhat of a natural language search. We can look at that too. There's a new AI cleanup tool. It's really kind of cool, but it's I don't know about its usefulness. We can talk about that if you want. And you can create memories. Memories are a type of collection of photos that group together photos that have a similar date, time, and place, and then they put some music to it, and it's kind of cool stuff. So here's the difference. When you first open the Photos app, it looks like this. And if you go up, in other words, swipe down and scroll up, you will see your library. Now, once you've done that, you can group it by days and years and months. You can search, you can select. If you scroll up, meaning, let's see, flick up, scroll down, flick up, you will see all the collections. And there are many collections. Only one of those collections is curated. In other words, you choose what photos go into it, and those are photo albums. All the rest of these collections, which are these right here, are generated using machine learning and AI to put photos in these different collections. And we talk about this. It's basically different views of photos that are in your library. If you were with us last week, we had a whole session on the Photos app. And if you want to know more about it, you can come to one of the drop-ins, and you can reorganize these however you want. That's where this list came from. So it's really, once you get used to it, it's a great way of navigating your photos. But it's a shock from the previous iOS 17 way of doing things. Okay. We talked a little bit about the new Passwords app. It's a password manager, and this is the screen. And it keeps all of your passwords, your passkeys, your two-factor authentication codes, your Wi-Fi passwords, and it also has a security feature, and we can delve into that. It can remember and autofill your passwords. If you have a Mac, it's synchronized with your Mac. So if you visit a website on your Mac and then go to your phone, that password will be autofilled when you log in. And often it will require your Face ID or Touch ID in order to fill that password, just as a security measure. It's encrypted end-to-end, so your passwords are, even Apple can't get to your passwords on their iCloud. So it's encrypted all the way from here to your other device. You can use this password manager on a PC as well. That's another whole session, but if you have a PC and an iPhone and want to use this password manager, come see me. Let me see if this is still connected. Come on, connect. There we go. You probably can't. Can you see that okay? Yeah, you can see this. The password manager, I'm just going to do a search for passwords. Maybe. Come on, Bobski, you can do this. Huh. What's going on here? I wanted to search for passwords. Well, never mind. We'll have to get the password manager. Huh. That's weird. All right. And the search doesn't have it, so I can't show you the password manager. But anyway, it's pretty clever. You can see I have 771 passwords that require security attention. And that's called being really lazy with your passwords. Don't do this, okay? I implore you not to do this. I have to go through and sort these out. This is things like passwords that have been involved in a data breach. Or I use the same password in multiple sites, and it warns you about that. So that's what the password manager shows you. Just on a note here, if you want to enable autofill so passwords will be autofilled for you, this is how you do it. And we don't need to go through all the details, but if it's not turned on and you want to turn it on, this is how you do it. And I think this is in the handout as well, hopefully. Oh, this is important. So in settings, passwords enabled detect compromised passwords. What they do is they actually have a database of data breaches. And in other words, companies like AT&T, for example, that have been hacked and the information has been leaked out, and they put that in the database. So if you use the same password for your AT&T account as you do your bank account, you could be in trouble. So be careful of that. And this will warn you of that. All right, another feature is customizing your home screen. You probably know about what we call wiggle mode. If you put your phone into wiggle mode, I think I can do that. Let's see. Yeah, that's wiggle mode. And you can move things around, right? So you can change the way things go. They've expanded the ability to do this in iOS 18. So you can have, for example, I don't know if I can go to another page. Oh, look at there. So these are all the different pages I have, and I can edit a page. You used to not be able to have just a hanging app like that. So that's one of the things that you can do to customize. You can, there's different icons that you can put up and that sort of thing. So that, just fiddle with that if you want. So just long hold somewhere on your screen and you will be presented with this wiggle mode, and you'll be able to customize your home screen. And you can drag icons, application icons from one screen to the other. Now, similar to that, you can customize the control center. We talked about the control center is you get there by pulling down from the upper corner. And I wish I could do that. I don't know. See, I'm trying to use a mouse on my phone, and that's just, it's not built for that, unfortunately. But if you pull down from the upper right corner, you end up with a page that looks like this. And there are groups of controls now. This is new with iOS 18. The heart means these are my favorites. So for example, the font size on the particular screen that I'm on, if I tap on this, I can increase the font size. And you can choose to do that for all apps or just the app you're working on. You can have like I've got the calculator here, the magnifying glass, the flashlight, and my camera down here, so they're easily reachable. And you can see over here, this is jiggle mode for the control panel. So if you long press on your control center, the interesting thing here is that you can see this little handle here on some of these. You can change the size of the button. So I could make this screen mirroring button go all the way across the phone, for example. It's kind of a little luxury of ways that you can personalize your control center.
How do you get rid of something that's there that,
Was the question, how do you get rid of something?
yeah, I've got something there that I didn't put there that I don't really want. So how
See
do,
the little minus sign here? Just tap on the minus sign. You got to be in wiggle mode, jiggle
oh,
mode.
okay.
And that, by the way, that also works with, I'm going to go back a slide here. That also works here. If you tap on the minus sign, you can choose to either remove the app from your home screen or remove it from your phone altogether. So if you're in wiggle mode and you tap that minus sign, you can remove apps from your phone or from the home screen. Okay. Did that do what you wanted to do? Who was that?
Yes, thanks, Mary. Thanks.
Oh, hi, Mary. Okay, cool. All right. So those are what I call the 4 important things. Here's everything else, kind of everything else, at least the top 2, 4, 6, 8 that I chose that I thought were important. So the first one is text messages. And they actually made some fairly cool changes to text messages. There's new emoji tapbacks. A tapback is, let's see if I got it here. Yeah, if you just tap on a message, it gives you the option to quickly tap back either an emoji like a thumbs up, or you can say, hey, that's cool, and it will quickly respond to the message. Or you can tap on this plus sign, and that brings up all kinds of things you can do over here. You can take a photo. If you need my email address to send cash, feel free to do that. You can literally tap on cash and it will send cash over a text message. There's some new formatting and special effects. Some of them are pretty cool. I'll demo that here in a second. There's also support for what they call RCS, which is what Androids use. This has been a long time coming. If you have a friend with an Android and you know you've tried to text message with them, it doesn't work very well. It sort of works. Well, that's all changed. So now you can send full resolution photos and videos back and forth with people with Androids. You can also send messages via satellite. Now, in iOS 17, you had this capability, but it was like a 911 call. It was only in an emergency. They've changed that to make it anytime you want to send a message via satellite. Now, in order for this to work, you have to not have cell service and not have Wi-Fi. And I tried this. I was out in the desert, the Red Desert, in the middle of South Central Wyoming, where the nearest cell service is, 50 miles away. And sure enough, I was able to find a satellite, send a text to my sister from out there in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. It's pretty cool stuff. There's also some Apple Intelligence integration. We're not really going to talk about that. The image playground is one of those things. Oh, there's also, do I have that on here? There's also send later, which is kind of cool. I can say, hey, I want to send this text at 10 o'clock and type it in and hit enter, and it will schedule it for the time that you specified. So let's see, what were we going to play with here? I think that's probably it. You can play with this. Just tap on the plus sign. There's more to this list than I show here. And some of them are pretty cool. So just play with it. This is the satellite connectivity thing, screen, and you can actually demo it if you want to. And I can't remember how you start it, but it asks you to find a satellite, and you actually hold your phone up. It says, hey, turn, in this case, you say, turn left to stay connected to the satellite, and then you can send the text message. So here it is. Oh, I know, it's no connection. You can, if you have no connection, it will try to send it via satellite. So that's kind of cool. Although today there's very few spots. You have to go to the middle of nowhere in Wyoming to not be connected. But it's just good to know that if you happen to not have cell service, you could still get help. The calendar is the big thing here, is the integration of reminders and the calendar. And I don't know if you use reminders. There's a special app for reminders. This is that app right here. Reminders are like a to-do list. Oops. And if you enter a reminder, now it will show up on your calendar. This has not happened before. Or when you can enter something on the calendar and say, I want this to be a reminder, and it will show up in the Reminders app. The nice thing about the Reminders app is it's a good place for to-do lists and things like that. I use it for, hey, what do I need to do today or this week? And I have a long list. And you can specify a date or a time for a reminder. And at that date and time, it will say, hey, you said you were going to do this by this time. And you can check it off or postpone it. Regardless, now it shows up on your calendar. So that's a big deal. I don't know if you use reminders, but it's a really handy feature. Okay, this is one of those changes to potentially confuse you. And if you've gone to iOS 18, you may have seen these categories at the top of your mail if you use mail on your phone. And what this does is it groups mail messages together depending on kind of what iOS thinks those messages are. Like you can see here, this is promotions. This is the promotions category. And you can see, sure enough, these are promotions. Ancestry, Yuki restaurants have a new rolling class, Fold 3 access if you're a genealogist, Casa Bonita. If you tap on these other ones, this one here is primary. And those, it's determined, are messages that matter the most. Let's see if I can show you that. And I probably, no, I don't think I have those turned off. So, okay. Can you see yeah, okay. So if I go to my mail, you can see here, this is all mail right here. So these are all my mail messages. If I click on primary, it only shows me messages that it thinks are important to me. This is shopping message or transaction. You can see here's a receipt, here's a payment. These are news updates and that sort of thing. Now, sometimes this is just a distraction. So if you don't want to see it, click on these three dots up here and just choose list view. And it goes back to the old way of looking at your mail. So that's sort of up to you as to how you want to view your mail. But you can certainly turn it off. All right. 18.5, which will come out next week, has a group by sender for categories. I can't show you that because I don't have any categories that have multiple email messages with them. But let's say, for example, this restaurant has sent me 5 emails in the last week announcing this class. It will group them together. So I will just see one main email and all 5 of them will be beneath that. So it's kind of convenient way of decluttering your mail messages. But this isn't out yet. I'm running it on my phone, but like I said, I don't have any groups right yet. Are we doing okay so far? Anybody got any wild questions? Any questions in the chat? Yeah. All right. Anybody lost yet? If you're not lost, I need to work harder to make you lost. All
I
right.
have, can I ask one question?
Please do.
Yes, it's about, categorizing your messages there that's going to be available. You know how at the top of your inbox you've got search and you can put in, if you're trying to find an email,
Uh-huh.
frequently put in things to search for that I know are in my mail, and it frequently comes up with can't find.
Really?
Then I know that it's there, and then I have to start searching and find it. And I'm wondering if this new thing that's coming out is going to be like that, only better, because then you'd be able to put it in all the messages from that particular sender. Is that what you're saying? They will all be clustered together?
In that category, yes. Now, I don't know in your primary category, do you use something like this? For example, I want to see all the email that I have from Gail.
Yeah.
I type from : and then Gail. If I
No.
just type Gail,
Uh-huh.
I might end up with, you can see the options I have here. Subject contains Gail, attachment contains Gail, for example.
Okay.
So try using, and you can say from and to or subject.
Okay. So if I say from :
Yes.
then okay, maybe that's why I'm having so much trouble searching for old emails and things
Yeah,
like.
it could be. If that persists, come see us and we'll see what we can do about it.
Okay, thank you.
The ones I use the most frequently are from, to, and subject. So you can see here, I said, I want all the emails that have LGS, which stands for Longmont Genealogical Society, in the
Uh-huh.
program. And you can see here, here's one, and here's one. Right?
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I'll try that. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope it helps.
Yeah,
Give
it does.
it a go.
Bob, I need some help.
Okay.
I got lost before the meeting when I went to mute, and I can come up with the outline, the PDF, but I don't see you or what you're pointing to and talking about.
Are you on your iPad?
No, I'm on a cell phone.
Oh, one of the shortcuts I didn't show you. Hang tight. I'll show you here. One of the shortcuts is to flick up from the bottom, and it shows you all your current open apps like this.
I can't see what you're doing.
Oh, flip up from the bottom and scroll through the apps and find Zoom. If you flip up from the bottom, you should see all the current open apps that you have.
I do. Okay, I zoomed.
Yeah, and scroll through until you find Zoom and tap on that.
Okay, I'm back to where it's your outline.
Well,
Let me go back to what we just did again.
Yes.
Flick
Flip
up.
up from the bottom and it shows you all the apps you have open.
What I did was search to find Zoom, so I didn't scroll.
Well, you could also search for Zoom.
Okay, that's what I did. Let's see.
Yeah, I have to say, these Zoom sessions are much better on a larger screen.
I know that. That's why I need your help with my iPad.
Okay.
We will be posting this video on our YouTube channel.
Oh, good.
So if we can't figure it out here, you'll have a chance to go back and look at the whole thing.
That's just fine. How
Thank
do I
you.
get to the YouTube channel? That's all I need to know.
The YouTube channel's on our main website page. It's linked there, longmontsctc.org.
Okay.
Now, it won't be posted for a while because I got to download it and work with it, but
Oh, sure. Well,
Um,
that's wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to waste your time here.
oh, no problem.
that wasn't a waste.
Okay.
Are you in, Judy, are you in Longmont?
Yes,
Yeah, come to one of our drop-ins at the senior center. Are you familiar with the Go catalog?
I am, but I'm not mobile.
Oh, okay, well, give us a holler because
I will.
we can make arrangements for that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Uh,
Yes.
I just want to check. I didn't know how broad to draw the conclusion. We have the 15 plus, and I understood that Apple Intelligence doesn't get covered, but like this password stuff and some of this other stuff you went through, the ability when you're not in a geographic area for Wi-Fi, etc. Does the 15 plus get that long as I have an 18.4.1?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you got it.
All right.
Yeah, you're on 18.4.1, which is the latest. Now, next week you'll be updating to 18.5.
Okay.
And it has a few minor additions, but 18 is what we're talking about here, and you're good to go with it.
But the only thing we won't get with the 15 plus is the Apple Intelligence, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And you're not missing anything.
Well, we can use ChatGPT.
There you go. We can talk a lot more about Apple Intelligence, but if you don't have a phone that runs Apple Intelligence right now, there's nobody from Apple listening, is there? Don't go out and buy a phone just because it supports Apple Intelligence. Maybe in a couple of years, but not right now. It's just not worth it. Okay.
Bob, excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got a question about the group by sender.
Lights off.
The group by sender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be the difference between using that or just putting those same senders in that sender's mailbox? I mean, under all your different mailboxes.
Well, putting them in the mail, separating them out into another mailbox is fine, but that's kind of after the fact. This is grouping them by sender in your inbox. So it's just making it a quick way to see all the emails from a particular sender in a particular category without having to do anything else.
Okay, but once you're finished with those, you could put those in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, that's good iPhone hygiene to to clean up your mailbox that way.
Okay. That sounds good. I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let's look at maps real quick. They just added some things like topography, topo maps, and national park trails access and that kind of thing. And also you can save a route. So you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go hike Bear Lake, and you can save that. And even if you're out of cell range, you still have that map available on your phone, which is kind of cool. Notes has some new features, and if you don't use Notes, that's probably the most frequently used app that I have, maybe next to the calendar on my phone. You can actually transcribe a phone call live as you're talking on the phone. You can have it listen to your phone call, and by the way, it tells the other person that you are recording it, and it will transcribe it into text for you. It does a pretty good job. It depends on how good the connection is and how clearly you're speaking, but it will transcribe audio live. There's some other miscellaneous additions. I haven't used some of these. I use apps or Notes for a lot of things, but I wouldn't say I'm a Notes expert. I just use it for the basics. Does anybody use Journal? I used to use Journal. Journal is pretty cool if you like to keep track of kind of what you've done and where you went, and how you're feeling. It's big on how you're feeling. And if you set it up, if you turn on the notification, sometime in the evening, I think it's around 6 or 7, maybe it's configurable. It will say, hey, you went to Burger King today and it was raining. How was your day? And it asks you to you can either talk to it or you can type in kind of what you did for the day. And it's a diary, keeping track of your diary. And you can set that on your home screen and on your lock screen, although it will ask you to unlock for entering your journal. And you can print, this is new, you can print your journal out, which you didn't used to be able to do. This is so iCloud settings redesign. If you've gone to iOS 18 and gone to your iCloud settings, you certainly noticed this because they completely revamped the way this is shown. So let's see if I have. If you go to settings and then tap on your name, it will come up with iCloud settings like this. And this is completely revamped. Let's see if I can show this. I wonder why this keeps disconnecting. There we go. Are we sharing that? Yeah, okay. So if I go to settings, and at the very top is my name, this is my Apple account. If you click on that, and then you scroll down to iCloud, it shows you all kinds of things about iCloud. For example, it has some advertisements. It will try to sell you something. It shows you how much storage you're using. And this is kind of cool because it has little panels for each of your iCloud applications. We talked about passwords. You can see I'm syncing my passwords. Here's my notes. I'm syncing my notes with my Mac and my laptop. I'm keeping track of messages. You can see that I backed up my phone yesterday at 11:22, and my phone backed up. And this is good to make sure that you are backing up your phone to iCloud. And you don't need to have a Mac to do this. You just need some iCloud space. There are features, if you're paying for what they call iCloud Plus, there's some features that extend the functionality of your phone. I've turned advanced data protection off. We can talk about that later. But anyway, this is completely redone from iOS 17. And I urge you to explore it. Some new changes to Safari, which are, some of them are kind of cool. There's a reader mode, which is this little icon up here. There's a thing called distraction control. So let me see if I can show you that. Let's see. Let's start a new tab. And we'll go to Mac rumors. So you can see. So here's an article on Apple working to add AI search options to Safari. Blah, blah, blah. Now, there's a reader mode. If I turn this into reader mode, it gets rid of all of the advertisements and stuff that's embedded in it. It's just for reading, that's kind of cool. Or this, I think this is cool, hide distracting items. So let's say I thought this was distracting. I can just hide it and it gets rid of it. This little ad here, I can say, hey, I don't want to see that. And it gets rid of it. I don't know how useful that is, but it's kind of cool. And you can see up here, I've hidden 3 items on this page as I'm looking at it. By the way, Safari on the Mac has this same option. You can listen to it, so on. You can change the font size and all that sort of thing. So those are some changes to Safari for iOS 18. I think that's it. An hour. We went through this pretty quickly. Is your head spinning yet? If not, it should be. So few major changes, few minor changes. Apple Intelligence is, I say it's the future. If you know me, you know that I believe AI is going to change our civilization as we know it. It's that big of a deal. In Apple Intelligence specifically is lagging way behind the things like ChatGPT and Gemini and that. So it's a ways away. So don't run out and buy an iPhone just for Apple Intelligence. All right. Anything else? I'm going to white this screen out. If somebody wants to see a demo of anything, let me know.
I have a question, Bob.
Yes, Jan.
In fact, this was pure frustration. So when I traveled in November, my phone in my car, new car, talked to me. When I traveled this past couple of weeks, my phone refused to talk to me. It would show me where I was going on the maps, but getting through St. Louis at 3 o'clock in the afternoon was not fun. And I know, just saw they upgraded CarPlay. What did they do?
I have seen this. I helped someone with this recently, and I'll be darned if I can remember what it was. Let me think about it, Jan. I'm gonna have to. I'll send you some mail.
Okay.
I can't remember what the
Well,
issue
I'm
was.
working through the
You're
owner's
saying,
manual as well, which has been interesting. to say
yeah, I'm
the
sorry to hear that.
Well, I have to because I can't. There's things in the car I still can't figure out what to do.
Oh, well,
So
ask
I'm hoping there'll be more
ChatGPT.
about CarPlay on there. But it was like, why did it all of a sudden stop talking to me? And if I walk out of the car, the phone talks to me. If somebody calls me, then the phone will talk to me behind the voice conversation. But yeah.
Huh. Well, it may be the update to the new CarPlay, although I've updated and I haven't had any issues with it. So, but I don't use turn-by-turn directions either on my CarPlay. So,
Well, the only time I use the maps is when I'm someplace. I mean, I haven't been to St. Louis and I don't know how long, and I was going through there, stopping someplace, and then trying to get out, and it was like, this is ridiculous.
yeah, sorry to hear that.
Bobski, I'd be interested in knowing that too, because a lot of times when I turn on maps and want turn-by-turn navigation, talk to me,
Uh-huh.
doesn't work. And I can't figure out why it works sometimes and not other times.
Yeah, let me research it because I can't answer it right. Daryl, we can probably turn off the recording for unless you like having.
No, that's fine. I'll do that.
Well, friends, that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed this video today. Hey, before you go, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to know when the latest SCTC video comes out, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And if you have any ideas or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a comment below. We'll see you next time.